I want to share today some thoughts about mothers, motherhood, and more broadly, the divine feminine that is within all of us. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore said in her book, How I Found Health, and you may know Myrtle Fillmore was diagnosed with tuberculosis at a time when there was no cure for that. That was a death sentence. It was just a matter of time back then. And she was healed from that condition through prayer, very specific way over a period of 2 years, affirmative prayer. She would turn within each day and affirm perfect health in every soul, every cell in her body. And when she wrote about it, because people noticed that this happened, this is the beginning of the unity movement. She wrote, I began to affirm my inherent divinity, and my body responded. Myrtle, often referred to as the mother of unity, the heart, if you will, of the unity movement. And I want to talk about those divine qualities that we tend to associate in an earthly way with the female gender, but that we all know run deeply into the very being, the very essence of the Spirit itself. And we all carry these things with us always, everywhere. It's a divine expression. It's holy wisdom that permeates creation. It is, in a sense, an indwelling divine knowing. You know, I remember when I was a kid even hearing the phrase women's intuition, right? It's just a label that was put on this seeming divine wisdom that came out of who knows where. Now, even though society chose to put that label and use the word women on it, that is the divine feminine showing up in us as wisdom. And it brings qualities that we do, and at least in the modern world today, associate with women. But it is all there for all of us. Charles Fillmore said, the spirit of wisdom is within humanity. It is the Christ within us. Thich Nhat Hanh said, the answers you seek are already within you. Right? These teachers just pointing to this thing within us, this divine feminine source of wisdom that is there for us all. One of the aspects or elements of this divine wisdom, this divine feminine, is what I would call holy allowing. It's receptivity. It's openness. It's not passivity. That's a different thing. It's receptivity. It's cultivated through devotion and through stillness and through surrender, which you may notice describes pretty perfectly our inner prayer practice, right? What we call meditation, or what we call affirmative prayer or contemplative prayer, is very much focused on those divine feminine elements. The practice, if we wanted to put it into our life, is less striving and more allowing. Right? It shows up as a willingness to let go of striving and clinging and feeling like I got to go out there and take from the world what I feel that I need. We set that approach aside and open ourselves to an approach that allows our path to unfold in front of us. Reminds me of that quote about, don't worry so much about what you're going to do with your life. Maybe instead ask, what does your life have in mind for you? Is a way to think of that. Emilie Cady say we must learn to be still to let the great life flow into us. Very much an aspect, an expression of the divine feminine within. The divine feminine is also a fierce and protective love. And we see that certainly in motherhood, but it's bigger than that. It's the archetypal mother, tender yet unyielding. And if you think about a mother's love for their children, don't mess with that, right? A mother's love is fierce and protective. That is a good and right expression of the divine feminine in us all. It's a love that protects and sets boundaries and takes action as needed. And boundaries are healthy in our lives. We need some kind of guardrail, some kind of sense of where is the path, where is the middle, and how do I know if I'm getting off of the path? These things can be self-defined, of course. Growing out of the divine wisdom within us, this inner knowing that we know what is ours to do. As my mother knew it was hers to do, was to become a CPA. She was very clear on that. Did not waver from that goal. The divine feminine is not aggression, it's clarity in service of life. More than even just service to others, service of life itself. We might ask ourselves, where is fierce love being called for in the world today? I'll leave that for you to consider. We could make a very long list, I think, of where fierce love is being called for in the world today. The divine feminine can be seen as a balancing, completing force, and integrated into the very nature of all of our being. It represents in us a mature spirituality, intuition plus action. Highest form of action is action that is spirit-led through our inner wisdom. Receptivity combined with initiative. We're open to all, yet we know what is ours to do, and we do it. Richard Rohr said, the whole is found in the union of opposites. Now we humans, because of the way our mind works, tend to divide things, right? We have a dual mind, a mind whose job it is literally to keep us safe, to keep us alive. That is our mind's job. And to do that, it has become adept at discerning things. And fortunately or unfortunately, this is where we sort of cross from utility into imprisonment. It will assess and say, this is okay and that's not okay. This food is safe to eat, that food is not safe to eat. That's good because we want to eat foods that are safe to eat. But what happens is we build an entire world based on that approach, is we end up with things like these people are okay and those people are not. You see where the problem is in that. We're not talking now about what plant will make you sick versus what plant will nourish your body. We're letting that fear separate us as a human family. I believe we need to allow the divine feminine in us all to come forward and unite and harmonize. It is the very essence of divine love we see as a feminine aspect. So because our minds work that way, the upside is we need that mind to navigate this world. We really do. But yet it gets in our way when it creates a story that is far beyond the utility that is called. And so we undertake spiritual practices that we can reclaim this divine wisdom that is within us, this feminine nature that is within us. And learn to be able to see through those eyes as well. Yes, we have this mind, we need this mind, that's great, but I want to be able to see through the eyes of the Spirit. I want to see through the divine feminine in me. Because when we can do both, great power comes on us to be a force for good in this world. I don't need to explain how that is. We all know that that is true. And so I'm sharing with you today, I believe the way that we do that, we acknowledge that divine wisdom, that divine feminine that is within us. We take time apart each day to come back to that place over and over. That is a spiritual practice that we return. We let our mind be our mind and do what our mind does, but we choose to be spirit-led, such that the spirit is driving the car, so to speak, not our thinking mind that thinks in terms of separation. We let it be a useful tool that it is, but we do not let it drive the boat. And look around the world, you see what happens when we do. Right? And I know that as a community of seekers, which is what we are all here, in touch with the divine feminine within us, open to allowing ourselves to come into balance and to show up and let our light shine in the world from that place of balance. That doesn't say these people are okay, but those people are not okay. That says, I see the light in you, I see the spirit in you. I see God in every single person. Some people you gotta look harder. Some people you just have to have faith that it's there, even when we can't see it. And although we cannot change what someone else does, that's another way to get lost in this world, is to decide, well, the way forward is I gotta make those people act in a way that I'm comfortable with. That's not a good plan. We begin always within. It's like, well, let me show up in the ways. When we say be the change you want to see in the world, be that change. First and foremost, be it yourself. I need to be it myself. And when I do that, I can better see clearly through the eyes of the Spirit, through the eyes of the divine feminine wisdom within me, to inform my path forward. To show up in service in this way. Make yourself part of this community that has a need, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. Let the Spirit show you where and how to let your light shine. Exactly. But we know that letting our light shine is what we are here to do. That we might be the change we want to see in the world. And we do that rooted in that wisdom that is within us. So as we give thanks for the mother figures in our lives, and some of us have literal mother figures, and many of our mothers are wonderful people, and some of us have mothers that might have been not quite as wonderful, and some may have had to find that in the world elsewhere. And we talk about a family of choice. That might be part of our experience. But regardless of what the details are of the exact relationships, we find in the world the mothering figures, the mothering energy, the wisdom energy that guides us, that loves us, that shows us the way forward. And we give thanks for that on this day. So I'm going to close with this affirmation as we honor and cultivate and trust these qualities within, allowing God to express through us. Our affirmation today is, I rest in the wisdom of Spirit as divine life expresses fully through me. Say that together. I rest in the wisdom of Spirit as divine life expresses fully through me.